So yeah, man. Now that we didn't talked about our days in undergrad, talk about your days as a teacher. Like, how was it being around kids all the time? Did you really enjoy that experience?
Fuck no. I'm just playing. So honestly, people always ask me like, how did you get started in education? Well, truth be told, even though I'm not gonna say I cut up a lot, it's like two sides of Marshall. So it's like,
Nah, fuck that. It's Marshall and it's Trey.
yeah. So Marshall and Trey.
Okay, yeah.
You have the real like professional side, and then you have like the laid back side of me. And I never wanted to be a teacher because honestly, kids aggravate me. But I also realized like growing up as a kid, most of the time adults don't understand or don't care to understand, because I think that they do understand. It's like a disconnect. But I always been like a nerd, so I always loved learning. I always loved like education or whatever. Partially because I'm competitive, so I never want somebody to kind of outdo me in anything.
What grade did you teach?
I taught 4th and 5th grade math and science.
Okay.
So those are challenging.
Was it different from how we were taught math? I know shit's like different. Cause my sister sent me what my niece learning, and the shit looked retarded. Like, I don't understand.
Math and science for primary and secondary education totally different than the math that we learned, and that was a challenge for me, or somewhat of a challenge to learn that. So for me to learn the material and then be able to disseminate the information to younger minds was like really important for me, because I know that growing up, of course, in Ponchatoula, all our teachers did not look like us. My first black teacher was Michael Cowes, and he's now a principal of Hammond High School, but that was my first black teacher.
He the principal of Hammond High?
He's the principal of Hammond High.
Damn, man, he's like 30?
He literally like just got promoted from assistant principal, I believe, at another, like Hammond East Side, Hammond West Side, I don't know. But he's now the principal. And
damn.
I didn't have a black male teacher before junior high school, which was like, looking back, is like ridiculous.
Right.
So I know that my style and my method of teaching was going to be beneficial for young men and women who look like me. And so they kind of roped me into education when I started at Thrive Academy. That was kind of like my segue into the education realm. And from there, I'm 5 years in.
Right. So do you feel like you being an educator, you kind of gave your students like a getaway? Because school can definitely be a getaway for some people. Like, because you never know what kids go through at home.
Right.
So those 6 to 8 hours can be the best hours of their life throughout the day.
Absolutely. So when I started, I realized very quickly how eager the kids were to connect with somebody like me. One, I'm a young teacher and I'm black. So most of the students that I served were underprivileged students. And then whenever I had the opportunity to go back to Tangipahoa Hope Parish, I taught at DC Reeves, of course. That was our elementary school.
Oh, yeah, went down at DC Reeves.
But I was definitely their outlet. They came to me with stuff that you wouldn't even believe, and I understood the importance. I understood the significance of my role that I played, not only in teaching them the curriculum and giving them instruction with fidelity, but being someone who they can trust and somebody who they respected and look up to. And I still have a relationship with all my students to this day.
So what grade you think, are the kids in that you taught your first year?
They are now
like around middle school now?
Grade.
7th grade? Okay.
7th and 8th grade, which is crazy because they trying to add me on social media.
Oh, hell no.
Shit ain't gonna happen.
Hell
but the thing is, like, they always, like, they'll tell their parents, like, so their parents, since I can't add them on social media, or I won't add them, they'll, like, tell their parents to send me a friend request, so they still send me messages and videos for my birthday. Anytime they see me, I still celebrate their birthdays with them. So it's just, like, never ending.
So do you think that there needs to be like a higher number of black male educators for like our youth?
I do think there should be a higher number of black male educators. However, I also understand that the profession of education as a whole is really going down. It used to be the discipline of education was prestigious at one point. like your grandmother who was an educator. People respected educators then. There was a certain level of accountability for
Right.
parents, a certain level of accountability for students, for all stakeholders. But now everything is on the teacher. The kids don't fuck up. The parents don't fuck up.
I
And
never even thought about that.
the reality
Damn.
is, yeah, I mean, it's just declining. The overall morale, administrators who may or may not have been in the classroom, it's like they don't understand the struggles of being a teacher because it's beyond the hours of 6 to 3 or 6 to 4. Um, it's nonstop. We serve as family advocates, counselors, coaches, teachers, parents, I mean, brothers, uncles. Um, and so when you have people who aren't truly passionate but rather have the stability or the paycheck, then it's just like, fuck this, let me leave before I ruin everything that I've tried to build, fucking somebody up in this school building. So that's the reality.
Right.
Like, that's the reality. And for me, I don't know. I just don't want to go to jail.
Yeah, don't go
I
to
don't
jail.
wanna go to
Please
jail.
don't go to
So-
jail. And your ass going straight to Angola. You ain't
they
going to
gonna
no
lock me up. I ain't
parish,
gonna-
no nothing.
Yeah, I ain't gonna bullshit. I ain't even gonna play with them.
So let me ask you this. Do you think it's fair that technology is kind of taking over education? Like, whenever we were growing up, you didn't have to necessarily have a computer in your house.
Mhm.
You didn't have to have Wi-Fi to complete homework.
Mhm.
So what about those underprivileged kids that don't really have access to that? And they're being forced to have have those things.
So I think the integration of technology into education it's been swift. I'll say that. I understand that there should be more of a balance, in my opinion, of how educators facilitate their classroom, and to where it's not 100% remote learning or 100% electronic learning or whatever. But that's just the way of the world. I mean, we're constantly evolving as people. Even society, now they have restaurants where a robot comes to take your order and drop off your food. So
Right.
we do understand that not everyone is privileged. However, we can't allow privilege to kind of hold us back. I mean, even as African Americans, if we allow any adversity or what we don't have or what we're not accustomed to just hold us back, then we wouldn't be where we are now. We wouldn't have had the first African American this or the first African American that.
Right.
So I think that I think technology is dangerous. I think technology is powerful, but I also understand the benefits of technology.
Right.